right, so I'm so happy to be here. My name is Chateau Morrison. I am the Princess of Positivity. I believe that you can release your negativity so your positivity can reign in your brain, in your business, in your big, beautiful life. I believe that confidence and healing has absolutely no age limit. I am a core energy coach, a confidence coach, and also an EFT practitioner. And I believe that midlife women can get to after by overcoming obstacles. Let me just drop my powerful co-host right about here.
Hey, everybody, I'm Morgan Bustos, and I am your companion in this awesome transformation. I'm also an EFT practitioner, and everybody knows I'm a woman that's rebuilt her life after trauma.
Now, I know she just said a mouthful. You're like, what? What? All right. It's true. It's true. I know you don't know by looking at her. All right. And if you missed our episode just a couple weeks back, go back to it. We had someone on, we were talking about not looking like what we've been through. And today's episode, we're going to get a little deeper. Shall we get started, Ms. Morgan?
Girl, let's do it. So you guys, today we are going to be diving into something super, super powerful, and it's the image in our mind and how it can distort what we actually think is real. So, Chaton.
You know, I'm so excited because on our other part one of this episode, if you haven't seen it, it will be in the description box below, and probably at the end of the video, you'll be able to access it quickly. You know, we did some mirror work, and that's something that we have not done in the past. We're dropping all the new stuff. So if you haven't been around, like, you definitely need to go back. We did some write and release work. Don't know what that is. You missed the episode on journaling. I mean, we're dropping all the new stuff, especially moving into the second half of the year. We wanted to end the first half with some power, and we're going to be moving into the second half with even more power. But we asked you to kind of sit with your mirror and speak truth without judgment. And when we did that, I don't know, Morgan, how'd that make you feel?
That was one of the most powerful things that I've ever done, because I hadn't done it like that before. I did a little bit of, something similar to that, but that was really intense, actually being walked through all of that.
Yeah. And I think, because both of us have daughters, and you have a grown daughter, I have a grown daughter now too. This work that we're going to be talking about today is really powerful because of being a mom.
Chaton, I have a daughter. We have nieces, we have students, we have lots of people that we interact with that are young women that constantly watch us, and they watch us critique ourselves constantly. And it may be inadvertently, but they see us, sucking our stomachs, or they see us, messing with our hair and, your reflection, right? And, this is truth because they're constantly watching us, and they're learning. They're learning how to perceive themselves by looking at us.
Yeah. And, research actually backs it up, Morgan. And I remember reading an article where it's talking about how that starts even earlier. Our body image perceptions start way earlier than we think. And our babies, our little girls are even watching. I recently was with a little girl. She's about 4. And I watch her mom always does this, always pushing like on her stomach, like, I guess, to make sure the little child is about this big. And I watched her. She doesn't know what she's doing. Later on, it will take on meaning, but right now it's just, I'm being like mommy, I'm just doing the action. And so there's nothing wrong with fixing our clothes. There's nothing wrong with, but the thing is that, are we becoming more confident or less confident? And so in today's episode, we're going to be doing a little bit more mirror work, and we're going to be talking about how we can ease into getting a little bit better. Remember, this entire episode, and actually, think about it, our entire podcast is called Getting to After. And as we kind of segue into summertime, a lot of things happen to us. Now, we're on the East Coast. We're segueing into summertime. You might be in a climate that's always summertime. So you'll need this episode. Bookmark it, okay? Click it and make sure you keep it, because we're going to be doing some work so that you can feel better about who you are head to toe.
And that's why this episode is so important too, because it's not just about our vanity, fixing everything and being on point, but it's honestly about the legacy that we're leaving for our children, and also healing ourselves so that we can help them heal too through everything in their lives.
So, we're going to ease into a little bit of mirror work. Last week, we just said a simple truth, like, I am here, I am growing. This week, we're going to go a little further. Again, if you haven't done last week's episode, I would greatly recommend that you go back and do it. We did find it very powerful. Again, a lot of this work, where I initially discovered this work, was through Louise Hay. And so she has a couple of books that talk about how to do mirror work. But I find that doing mirror work along with tapping, along with grounding, along with breathing, essential oils, all the things, we are trying to make sure you have a plethora of modalities. Some you may love, some you may not love, but you won't be at a loss. You won't be like, I don't know what to do now. A lot of times we're not going to be there to hold your hand. We're not going to be there to support you, but we're always here on this podcast.
And that's the thing, is being able to give everybody these different tools and modalities to use so that they can go to it at their own pace and like use it and sprinkle it in whenever they need to. Because we all have parts of ourselves that we get triggered. It triggers us. We judge ourselves or we avoid it.
I'm just saying, I'm just going to point to stuff. Okay.
So that's why it's really actually exciting to be able to do this again this week.
Yeah.
We can really focus in on that.
Yeah. So if you are game with us, with Morgan and me, we want you to go to your mirror. I have my mirror here. I told you last week that I don't want to put that mirror up and then have this crazy reflection. I'll feel like I'm going blind. But this is work that Morgan and I come back to. Even though we've recorded this for you, we come back and we do this work. I don't know if you had a chance to, Morgan, but I definitely did go back through the work that we did together. We're doing this work for you guys right now, our audience, but then we come back and consume the same work so that we can also get to after right along with you. And as I've said many times, if one of us gets to after, it is not enough, right? We all got to get there together. So I want you to get your mirror. And again, if you may be at work when you're doing this or listening to us, or you may be driving your car, things like that. So you may have to wait till later, but listen. And what we want you to do is just kind of reflect and be thinking about it. Again, so before we get started, I am going to suggest that you take a little sip of water. Now, I know, Morgan, I saw you had a coffee cup. Don't even try. You see? You're going to try to fake them out.
Excuse me. Oh.
A little water goes a long way when you're going to start doing work like this. Now, one of the things we're going to do is going to go to your mirror. Or if you're not able to be in front of a mirror right now, you can just kind of be thinking about these things. And I want you to, as Morgan said, there's always going to be parts of your body that kind of trigger you a little bit. You're like, I wish, something I've struggled with. And what we want you to do, so you're going to go ahead, you're going to take your mirror and you're going to look at that part on your body. It may be something on your face, maybe some part on your body. And I want you to just say this softly. I see you. I've been hard on you. But today I'm willing to see you differently. And you can say that out loud, or you can say it to yourself. And then breathe as you're saying that. This part of your body has been with you through so much. It may not be perfect by beauty standards, but it's part of your story. And then what we do is we always want the mirror to reflect not just flaws, but facts. So a lot of times we're looking for flaws because we're taught to do that as women. And by midlife, we've been riddled with, this is a flaw, this is a flaw, this is a flaw. Maybe you've seen it, Morgan, even inside of like a magazine where they are busy trying to tell you all the things that are wrong. They may put that little black over the woman's eyes while they talk about her body. They don't do it as much anymore, but they talk about what's wrong with her clothes. They talk about what's wrong with her face. They talk about what's wrong with her makeup. The thing is, we've been taught to do that, to judge ourselves, to look away. So we're encouraging you in this particular mirror work exercise to go ahead and look at yourself. So we're going to do it again. Look at your face, look at that part of your body, that part that you've struggled with. And instead of looking away, just stay with it. And say softly, I see you. I've been hard on you, but today I'm willing to see you differently. And the reason why is because this part of your body and all of you, it's been with you. It's part of your story. Even though we're called getting to after, it's not about taking something and throwing it away. It's about seeing what we need to absorb and what we need to get away from. What do we need to push away? Because we are about the positive parts. We want the truth to come out today. And so that's what we're going to be doing.
It's crazy. I was thinking about the other day, because I'm in construction. And so I'm on the job site, sometimes I'm in my overalls, my bandana's on, my gloves, whatever I'm doing. If I'm working on the backhoe or the tractor or the skidster, whatever I'm working on.
You see how she's bragging, y'all? Just so you know, okay? She's an entire girl boss. Okay. Don't miss it. Don't miss the point. Go ahead, love.
So, when I'm out there on the job site, dude, I'm like in my power.
Of course.
That is one of those moments, Chatone, I never have to question anything about me. And it's really odd too, because like being a woman on a job site, like there's very few of us on there. It's mostly
Right.
it's all construction, so it's mostly men.
Right.
But the one thing that I've always done is like I always take care of myself even though I'm on the job site. So I still do my hair. I still do my makeup because because I work like a man doesn't mean I have to look or smell like one, right? So I'm going to be put together.
God.
I'll drop a picture in here so you can see what I'm talking about. But those are one of the times I never question myself. I'm not worried
Yes.
about is this tucked in, well, except for modesty, but like I'm never worried about is this hanging out or this or whatever it is. Like that is my most confident
Wow.
moment in time where I know I'm powerful.
Wow.
I know who I am. I don't question my ability or
Wow.
my value or my worth in those moments. And that's actually one of the very few times and places. Wow. Okay, this hit deep real quick.
That's deep.
About to tear up. That's like one time I never question myself, like ever. Like that's when I can trust my body the most to do what I know it needs to do.
To do. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, Morgan. Ooh, you gave me chills, girl. So we're talking about function. We're talking about why we are actually in our bodies,
Yeah.
why we were created was to do things. It wasn't to be looked at.
Mm-mm.
I'm not a huge feminist or anything, but the truth is, we weren't created to be looked at. We were created for function. We do things. I think that's amazing. And I'm gonna actually drop right here. What kind of hold on. Let me drop this.
Pause because I literally got so much fuzz in my eye right now. I can't see anything.
Oh my goodness. So Morgan, I want to drop this little banner here because I want to ask everyone, when do you feel fully in your power with your body?
Mm.
When are you not having those negative voices kind of come into your head? Because part of rewriting the story, part of dismantling these negative ideas, and part of the reflections of confidence really has to do with figuring out when that is.
Mm.
And for women, it's different times, and there's no judgment, whenever it is. Finding out when that is and being able to name it and claim it will allow you to embody it more often. So for Morgan, it's on a construction site of all things. But it makes sense because that's when your body truly is doing all the things. At the same time, though, I know that when you're with young children, not even your children, when you're with children and you're 100%, because I saw you doing it in April, just you and that small child, because you're so good with kids. I know the last thing you're thinking is, if I bend over like this, is my stomach doing this, or my pants doing this, or am I twisting a certain way? Women don't readjust their clothes. Women do not readjust their clothes when they're caring for their babies. They just don't.
Mm.
They just don't. You are fully in function. You are fully in your power in that moment for the most part. I won't say 100% across the board, but for the most part. So wherever that thing is, we challenge you to go figure that out. Where is that? I will say for myself, when I'm in that mode,
Mm.
typically is when I'm writing, when I'm coaching. If I'm coaching somebody else, again, it's usually those outward motions. One of the reasons why women so much are not in their power as much, or not feeling like they're feeling very finicky with their bodies, is because we've become so myopic, where we're looking at ourselves all the time and we're not as outwardly focused. No judgment, but we're not as outwardly focused as we used to be. So it's all about us. And
Mm.
even though we're talking about reworking the image, we want to talk about the fact that it's important for you to be projecting outwards, because the more that you project outwards, the less you're going to be feeling like, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. This is not good enough. I don't like how this feels, when you're
Mm.
thinking about others. So this is not a religious podcast. This is not like, we're not trying to tell you how to deal in your spiritual life. However, it truly is true that when you give more than you receive, you're
Mhm.
happier. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that. Let's get into this mirror work right now. Um, it's interesting, Morgan, because your reflection is only just that. When you look into the mirror, it's just that. It's just what your reflection is. It doesn't mean that it has anything to do. In fact, you said this last week about who you actually are. It's just a snapshot in time.
Mm.
It's just this moment. And in fact, and I always say this, oh, now we're somebody different, you know. You don't really see this. Have you ever seen where you see these like those cameras where they're showing a flower opening, but it's like over time, right? And you see it and it's closed. And then, you know, but it's like that the way the camera is done or the way the movie is done, and you see it all open up. And that's actually happening outside of our homes every single day, but we don't see it. It just seems like the next day you walk, oh my goodness, all the flowers have blown. Not true. It's the same with us. So every single second we're changing just a little bit, but it seems imperceptible. The mirror is not going to show you all of that. Most of that is happening in your mind. So we are whole. We are whole people. And so we're going to try and reframe and redirect some of the negative and downgrading things that we say about ourselves, that we speak over ourselves. And if you're willing and feeling courageous to do this work with us, we really invite you to try and do it with us. So again, we're going to grab your mirror and we're going to be very patient with ourselves as we do this work. This can be very deep work depending on how you felt about yourself. And one of the reasons why, Morgan, this is so important to me, this kind of like little workshop we're doing with our audience during the podcast, is because as summer approaches, so many women are down on themselves and I hate it. Mm-hmm. How do I know? I know. And so basically every June or July for years, I have done something around reflection, around body confidence. It's just what I do. I always do it. And I'm so excited to be able to do this work with you because we're different decades. We have different bodies. It's not about the body. It's not about how many wrinkles we have. It's about how we see ourselves. It's about how we see ourselves. And then what does that do to us? Because it can actually cause a spiral, a really deliberately downward spiral. Now, I don't know about you, Morgan, but that's not good enough for me.
No, not at all.
No. So what we're going to do. Okay. All right, Morgan, I'm catching something on your face, girl. What's going on over there?
Well, when you said processing your own truth, like that hit me so hard because of everything that we did last week. Yeah. Like there was just this huge flood of emotion that came over me. I don't even know where it came from, but like having to look myself in the mirror and acknowledge the things that I'm insecure about.
Yeah.
And then realizing that it is my truth and people try to distort what your truth is, but I know what my truth is. But then having to acknowledge that and accept it, that just, I don't even know what to say. Like that just hit me hard.
But the languaging is, and then I have to accept it. Sounds negative. And I think, again, one of the things is we're going to do this with compassion because mirror work can feel very harsh. In my book, again, Fat and Happy, I talk about bra and panties time, and we talked about this last week. It's not to be harsh. It's for love. It's for loving. If you were on a construction site in your power, and then I told you, do it in your bra and panties, extremely unsafe. Okay. Extremely unsafe and unsanitary. But also the confidence would be gone, right? Yeah. So, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to go there. But the point that I'm making is that when we say I have to accept it, I accept it. When we take out those little helper words in front of it, it changes everything. I accept it. I have to accept it. What sounds better to you?
I accept it.
Yeah.
Because it's a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you say have in front of it, it tells you don't have a choice. Like somebody is telling you what to do, and it's not from your own heart.
And that is why self-talk is so important. A lot of this is grounded in how we talk to ourselves. A lot of this is grounded in what do we see and what do we say when we look at ourselves. Today, we're going to try and reframe with compassion the way that we look at ourselves.
Well, it's habit, like when you walk by the mirror, to just critique yourself. But if you actually stop and listen to the things that run through your mind while you're running by that mirror, it's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
It's like all you do is the negative. You don't see, oh, this looks really nice. Or if you do, it's a split second of, oh, that looks really nice. And then you go to the negative that would be fixed.
Yes. Which is why this gentle reframing with compassion is so important, redirecting those negative messages. And we started this episode talking about our girls or the women who are coming behind us, the legacy. If you think that you can play it off and they don't notice, you're fooling yourselves. You're literally lying to yourself. It's not true. How do I know? I raised a girl
Right.
and I raised two girls. I mean, I raised a spiritual daughter and I raised my own physical daughter. And it's impossible. Can you cover it all? You can't. But what we can do is we can try and look at ourselves with kinder eyes. I always think back to how when you ground us, Morgan, you talk about having a soft gaze. That's what I mean. What would it be like if we could kind of give ourselves that kind of soft gaze over top of ourselves, right? That's kind of what we're going to do today. But we have to go hard first. We got to go through the hard part first. So
I like
I have
that.
actually go ahead.
I like that. Give ourselves a soft gaze.
Yeah, give
Oh,
ourselves a soft gaze.
because it's like giving yourself grace.
Exactly. It's
Oh,
really funny too, just, we're not gonna go there, but that's how when you fall in love with someone, that's how they see you. And as women, we sometimes destroy that for the poor man because they're looking at us with a soft gaze. They don't see what we see. They just don't. And yet but do you like this? And what if I do like this? And what if it this back here? And they're like, yeah, and we're just totally messing it up. All right. So putting them to one side, what if we could do that for ourselves? So today, what I want you to do is we're going to, again, go to your mirror and I want you to listen and picture yourself at the same time. That's why I'm talking. Again, if you don't have the mirror there, it's okay. So our goal today is to start speaking over ourselves in a much kinder way, in a much more accepting way. Many people say the way you might talk to your best friend. And I'm going to say the way you would speak to your daughter who you absolutely love, we wouldn't do it, not as a loving mother. So we want to kind of reparent and relove ourselves. So let's picture ourselves for a second and maybe think of a part of your body that you have discord with and just let it flow up in your mind. What would you normally say? You don't have to say it out loud, Morgan. What would you normally say to yourself? I'm going to do the same thing just now. Let that float up in your mind. And if you wanted to, you could say it over a whisper. You could just think about it. And our goal today is to change it up, a little bit. So perhaps it sounds like, and I actually wrote some of these out beforehand, so I want to read them. These are not necessarily mine, but I've heard clients I've had say things like this. My legs are thick and stumpy, and my thighs will never have a gap. Women are very concerned about that thigh gap, right? Or my legs have varicose veins, and I wish they were smooth. My stomach, it's too round, and it jiggles when I walk. It moves. I see it under all my clothes. I look at it in disgust, especially when it's time to go to the beach. I can never wear a two-piece bathing suit. I can never wear any bathing suit. My arms are untoned and flabby, and I'm ashamed of how they move. And there's no way I will ever wear a tank top or a tank dress. My eyes used to be pretty, but now I have so many lines around them. I just feel really old. So these are some of the things that I've heard women say to themselves over and over again. No matter what compliment you give them, they will literally come back to you with one of these statements. Is this resonating for you, Morgan?
Oh, big time. Because as you're going through all that, I was like, okay, check, 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 check. Those are all the things that I was thinking, you know. You
Wow,
can,
really?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's reframe it. Let's reframe it because while the mirror is reflecting back truth, because, okay, it may be true, the first part, maybe you don't have a thigh gap. Maybe your stomach does move as you're walking, right? Okay, those things are true. But now let's think about what these parts of our bodies do for us in terms of function because we're probably missing some of the really good stuff, some of the good parts. So again, if you go back, Morgan, thinking about yourself on that construction site, thinking of yourself in function, thinking about the fact that no matter what anybody tells you, you are not the sum of your flaws. None of us are. You don't have to be frozen in yesterday's image. You are a living, breathing work in motion. And you don't have to have it all perfect today, but you
Mm,
can look at it with less anger, with less shame, and with more presence. And when we're able to do that, you walk away feeling very different from the mirror than you might have before doing this work. So stick around. We're going to do a little bit of reframing on those statements. And I literally wrote them out. I did not know Morgan was going to feel this way. She didn't see this.
I'm like doing the podcast, but I'm like, man, I'm having my own private session right at the moment.
Well, you know what's so funny is that um, that's what this is all about. Letting women, of course, see what we do. And I'm
Mhm.
so happy that you're always game to let me work with you because it is public. It is a public session. But I really believe that I'm not working with you as much as there are women out here who need to hear this
Mhm.
and no one's saying it to them.
Well,
So,
and so that we can be vulnerable because we always have to be, superwoman all the time and we have to be powerful and strong and all these things. So to be able to have a moment where we can just be
yeah,
whatever we need to be in this moment while we're getting that reflection of ourselves.
yeah.
Thank you.
So let's do some gentle reframing. Take a couple of breaths. And again, mirror work would typically be a little bit more succinct. Of course, we're in the middle of a podcast, so we're kind of walking you through it step by step. But those statements, let's kind of rework those statements. So one of them might be, "My legs are thick and stumpy, and my thighs will never have a gap. They have varicose veins, and they'll never again be smooth. And they have walked me through grief, through joy, and a half marathon." Now, I don't even have to go for like you see the face? You see it, you can't help it. You can't help it. All right. So my stomach is flabby and it jiggles when I walk. I look at it in disgust, except when it's time to go to the beach, and my belly has held breath, babies, and the butterflies of my first love.
Mm.
What?
I was standing in the mirror just yesterday and I was looking at my stomach and had like a negative thought came into my mind and I literally put my hand on the top of the stomach and under my stomach and I said, I love you. Like, thank you for carrying my 4 kids. Like, do you realize how strong you are to give birth to 4 kids? I was just like, thank you. And I just
That
for a second.
is mirror work. That's what we're talking about. This is how we take the reflection and we rework it. This is
Mm,
how we do this gentle reframing. Let's try two more. My eyes used to be pretty. Women have a lot of problem with their eyes, a lot of surgery going on, lots of creams and serums. I believe in creams and serums, but I don't believe in talking bad about my face. My eyes used to be pretty, but now they have so many lines. I feel old.
mm,
And my eyes have also witnessed beauty, survival, and human kindness.
mm,
My arms, because of course it's summertime, and the arms are always a period of angst. Me too, but not because they move, but because I have stretch marks, which I have embraced. Um, I've embraced them. It's a part of my body. But what about you? My arms are untoned and flabby. I'm ashamed of how they shake. They've also carried groceries. My grandmother's shoulders as I put her shawl on her for the very last time. And as I hug my children and my husband, my arms have done all of that too. So the
mm,
thing about this gentle reframing is go ahead and have your truth. Go ahead and feel those things, but also give yourself something else. It's powerful. I know, Morgan. It's a lot, right? When I wrote this, I did cry. I'm not crying today, but in creating this episode for us, I did cry. I did when I said, okay, we're going to talk about X. And then you said, okay, Tone, give it to me, right? The truth of the matter is the outline for this information, coming up with this mirror work, I was like, "Wow, this is a lot, right?" So here's the thing. When we do this, isn't it different? Don't you feel differently?
mm.
How does it feel,
Completely.
Morgan? Yeah.
It just hits deeper. Um, because acknowledging acknowledging the issues I have with my arms, right? But then when you reframe that, me thinking about having to do construction and me painting this basement, right? And spraying everything and masking everything off. I like the strength that it takes to do that and the stamina that it takes to do that, like acknowledging the power that I have in those moments
That's the
and that
point.
like they do what I need them to do when I need them to do it, you know? So
And they also, when you don't need them to do it, when they don't need, when you don't need them to do something as strong as that, they are still doing something for you.
mhm,
They're doing something for you right now,
mhm,
right in this moment, in your sweater.
right?
That's the thing. Like, as women, we got to stop tearing ourselves down. But the way that it begins is on every single day at some point. Although I've had a client or two who said, I don't look in mirrors at all. I get it. But for the most part, we're going to look at some point at ourselves, or we're going to pass one or a store window or something. What flashes up? Can you, if you can't negate it, can you at least counter it? Can you at least add an and statement? Can
Mm,
you at least say, and something else? Because we're going to eventually get to, but it's clearly, again, in your self talk, when you say but, it negates everything in the sentence. So I didn't say but. My arms are untoned and flabby. I'm ashamed of how they shake, but they've carried groceries. I said and, because that allows two
mm,
things to coexist at the same time. That's what we do in EFT. Two things are coexisting. One maybe not, maybe true and makes us feel a little bit bad, but then one is also true and is neutral. And they've carried groceries. Oh, thank you, arm, for carrying those groceries. For me, Morgan, when I was in my power, when I was at my heaviest weight and really disliking myself, the most ever was after I had Caitlin 23 years ago.
mm,
I was the heaviest I'd ever been. People kept talking about my body. I mean, everyone at work, wherever I was, it was like, oh, girl, you can get off that baby weight or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, it was so hard to have that little girl. And I lost so many babies before her. And that pregnancy was so difficult. And I had such terrible postpartum, bad postpartum.
mm,
And it was one day when I was lifting her up and she was almost 20 pounds in that infant carrier. And I was trying to carry up the steps to her grandmother's house so that I could go to work. And I looked down at my arm and I said, my God, my arm is so wonderful.
yeah.
Like, are you kidding me right now? So she was
Mm,
born in April, and this was probably around somewhere around July, right? Still heavy, still haven't lost much weight, whatever the case may be. It's hot. And I probably have some long sleeve shirt on because goodness knows I wasn't trying to show the stretch marks, the arm is moving, whatever. I looked at my arm. I was in on Elmwood Avenue in East Orange, going up to her to my grandma to her grandmother's door. I was going up to her grandmother's door and I had that infant carrot. I promise you, I looked at my arm and I was like, never again. Never again. I won't dismiss you ever again.
mm.
Because look what you're doing. This baby that you wanted, look at what it's doing. It could be small things. Start to acknowledge the good that this body that is imperfect and flawed is doing. And that is how you reframe your confidence around your reflection.
It's like that moment in time when you're sitting there and you have the baby on your hip and you're holding it with your arm, right? And you're cooking and you're doing this and you're doing this and you're making a bottle over here and you realize you're not even really holding. Like you're, it's just all there. Like my hip is designed to prop a baby up on it. My arm is stronger, even though this isn't my dominant arm. It's doing all the work while I'm still doing all these other things and acknowledging that, man, I'm beautifully made.
Yes, yes. But you
Like,
know what, Morgan? Unfortunately, I think because once you start getting in your 40s, and above, we
mm,
don't think of ourselves that way anymore because we're not holding babies, we're not dealing with toddlers, we're not, and so we start to be again more into like when we were teenager, early 20s, where it's all about the look. We're like, well, I want to look younger, I want to look, so that's what we're trying to take you out of in this episode. That's what this is all about. I hope
mm,
you're following, I hope it's tracking for you. Um, I remember one time, Morgan, you said to me that we're not one thing, we're both. You're not one thing. You're not
mm,
going to have glitter and glam and go on a work site.
mm,
You're also not going to have, you're not ready to hammer something down when you're in an evening gown. And yet
mm,
I've seen you do both very, very well.
mm.
So that's all of us. And so we really want to entreat you with this episode. If anything, I want to mention though that this work we're doing, even this conversation, may trigger you. It triggered Morgan. If you have emotional scars around some of these areas, if you've been ever never done reparenting work, or you've felt triggered in your past and you're like, this is making me feel some kind of way. This is kind of deep and not professional. Talk about it with them.
Mm,
Again, bring the link and say, I was listening to these ladies talk about this, and it kind of like took me back to a place. It's important because this could be your paradigm and moving forward, but bring it to your professional if you feel triggered by it, so that you don't feel alone. We are here. Hey everyone, it's Chateau Morrison, Princess of Positivity. And this is a little weird, right? You're hearing my voice, but you're not seeing my face. All right, let me get right down to it. If things felt a little incomplete today, that's because they are. We had a major technical glitch, and at the end of this episode, we lost the last part of our conversation. Heartbroken. Do you understand? Heartbroken. It was so good. It included the tapping transformation we had planned for you. And this particular series is one that's so close, near and dear to my heart personally. But instead of trying to force it and re-record it, we're choosing something different. Grace. And honestly, I'm a perfectionist, and I think I've told you that, so this was a hard decision. But Morgan is recovering from 2 emergency hospital stays in the past 3 weeks, life-threatening. She was very sick, y'all. And she's also moving. She moved house over the weekend in this dramatic heat wave that's on the east coast of the United States. And she's still not 100%. So this summer we realized we need to just give ourselves what we always encourage you to take, a little space to breathe. And that's hard when you want to show up for people. But let me show you what's next because it's pretty exciting. First of all, our final full episode of this season will drop next week on Monday, July 7th. And it's going to be with a special guest, Janelle Williams. She's a professional organizer here in Annapolis, Maryland. You do not want to miss this episode. We had so many dramatic aha moments. She's such a great teacher, and she taught me so much. Both of us had a notebook full of notes when she was done. Then on Tuesday, the next day, July 8th, we're launching something new. I know, I said we're taking a little sabbatical, but at the same time, we're still going to be dropping new stuff because I'm a high creative. All right, it's called Fat and Happy Tapping Tuesdays. So as you know, I have a book, Fat and Happy, that you can journal in, and it gives you keys to really, really embrace and enjoy and create simplicity and joy for yourself. But we are including tapping with that. So these are going to be short transformative sessions. They're going to help you to reset, tap, and come back to yourself. It is going to be really good. There's like a little thank you gift for you for just being with us and helping you stay grounded as well all summer long. We'll be back in September on our new day, which will be Tuesdays, with season 2 of Getting to After. We're going to be refreshed, ready to go. So make sure you stay tuned. Keep up with us on social so you don't miss anything new. One of the newest things we'll be dropping really soon, so make sure that you are on our mail list, is the summer edition of Getting to After, the virtual e-zine. It is really good. I'm in the process of finishing it up. So many great articles. For me, it's like a literary magazine with pictures and exercises, but we've really amped this one up. And so we're hoping to have this one drop in the next couple of weeks, just in time for you to have it for all of the heat of the summer. So look forward to that. We really want to say thank you for understanding. We deeply appreciate you for being on this journey with us. It's been a rocky road for Morgan all year. All of this divulging of the past and working through trauma and then getting clients to do the same thing with us and tap along with us. Thank you for being honest, for all the messages, for all the love. It really makes a difference and lets us know that what we're doing is supporting you. So we love you. Make sure that if you'd like to meet up with us this summer, you go to bit.ly/tap-chat. We love an opportunity to talk to you. And until then, we'll see you next week. Take good care.